Remember, a screech is a yell that hurts someone's ears. You don't like to screech in school. Save your thoughts till the end. It's my nut, said Pecan. It's mine, snapped Hickory. So they're fighting over this nut. Let's see. Who's making that noise? Shouted Badger. I'm trying to sleep. Martavia, we do not leave the carpet during story time. You need to come back. Why did you go when we were sitting in the chairs? Stand up and quietly go. And when you come back, you need to be ready to listen. Arianna, you can sit in the quiet corner or you can come to the carpet. Who's making that noise? Shouted Badger. I'm trying to sleep. Jair's looking at the story. Tristan's looking at the story. All the animals came out to see what was happening. Was that a right choice? Where should you be sitting? In your square. Keep your hands in your lap so you can pay attention to the story. My nut, Pecan shouted. It's mine, yelled Hickory. I saw it first. Did not. Did so. Bop his nose, shouted the littlest rabbit. To bop someone is like hitting them. Certainly not. Bopping noses does not solve problems, said the Badger. So the Badger sounds like he should be in our class. We know that we can't bop people to solve our problems. I have an idea. There will be a competition. A competition is a contest or a race to see who's better at something. Deontay has a bubble. Brandy's looking at the story. We will have a competition and the winner will get the nut. Tejan, you can stand up and put that in the garbage can and then come back to the carpet. I know, said Hedgehog. The prickliest wins the nut. Ooh, the prickliest means someone who's really pokey and sharp. And we know that hedgehogs are kind of sharp. But you're the prickliest, said Pecan and Hickory. Durrell has a bubble. Tiana's listening. Tristan, you need to listen with a bubble.
That's not my smells.
I am the prickliest, said Hedgehog, delighted. I win. I get the nut. No, said the littlest rabbit. The cuddliest gets the nut. Tijan, you need to sit in your square now. Swallow it. Enough, said Badger. We will have a race. The first to reach the post will win. Hooray! A race! Everyone cheered. We don't spit in the classroom. You can swallow it if you feel that way. Jair's still listening. Brandy's staying in her square. Jasmine, you need to be in your square. Tijan, you need to be on your bottom in your square. Blackbird whistled, and they started the race. They were off. Pecan and Hickory shot ahead, but the rabbits were close behind. Hedgehog tried to run, but only managed a waddle. In a huff, he curled himself into a ball and rolled full speed down the slope. There's Hedgehog in the illustration. He's rolling in a ball. Martavia, you need to come to the carpet. Araya, you can sit in the quiet corner quietly, or you can come to the carpet. So there goes Hedgehog. I wonder what's going to happen. He's rolling right towards them. Look out, he called. Too late. Tiana's paying attention to the story. Jair's sitting in his square. If you're tired, you can rest your head on your hand like this. But you can stay quiet so we can hear the story. Hedgehog crashed through the racers like a cannonball, and everyone landed in a prickly heap. Oh dear, tutted Badger. We'll have to start again. And prickly cannonballs are not allowed. The Hedgehog snorted and sulked off. Sulked is another word for pouting. So there he goes. He was like a pout fish. He sulked off. In the basket? That's the Hedgehog. Those are his prickly, pointy things on the back of his body. Elijah, you need to come to the carpet. Araya, you have lost your quiet corner privilege. Come to the carpet. Martavia, you also need to come to the carpet. Blackbird whistled, and they were off again. Pecan and Hickory were neck and neck. My nut, shouted Pecan triumphantly. I win! No, shouted Hickory, it's mine, I win. Jair's listening story, Tiana's sitting up in her square. Suddenly, the nut began to move. It twitched and jerked and jogged and jiggled. Let's all twitch like the nut. Ooh, let's see what happens. It disappeared down under the ground. It's a magic nut, shouted the littlest rabbit. Nutty magic, squealed the hedgehog. Excuse me, when you're talking when I'm reading, people who are trying to listen, like Chanel and Giovanni, can't hear. So you need a bubble and I'll save your thoughts until the end, and then we can talk about it. I bet that nut would have tasted like magic, said the badger. So now the nut disappeared. Let's see what's going to happen. Ha! The nut sprang up right in front of Shrew. A Shrew's a little mouse. There's a Shrew. You're interrupting me, and that's not very polite.
So you can grow your brain.
Quick, grab it, shouted the littlest rabbit. All the animals shot across the grass, rolling and shrieking, jumping and hopping, banging and bopping into each other. Chanel's looking at the story. Brandon has his bubble. I got it, shouted the hedgehog, but the nut vanished again.
You need to step away from this. This is mine. You can go sit on the carpet or you can go to the quiet corner. But you may not stand around this.
Look! He pointed at the magic nut that had appeared. Are you okay? What happened? Martavia, I'm glad you said you're sorry, but this is why we need to sit safely in our squares. If we don't make the wrong choices, people get hurt. You need to stay in your square now. Help! Squealed the nut. The nut just stopped. Help! He squealed. Ah! Shrieked the littlest rabbit. A talking nut! You're a talking nut, said Pecan. How strange, the nut is talking. We know that nuts can't talk. They're not real. Elijah's listening to the story. Jasmine saving her thoughts till the end. Let's see what it says. Pecan and Hickory bent down and pulled and tugged and yanked at the nutshell with all their might. Pop! Out flew the nutshell, sending Pecan and Hickory rolling backwards. And there, where the nut had been, was a mole. A mole is this little animal here. A mole is an animal that lives deep in the ground. The mole shook himself and stood up on his two tiny legs. Thanks, he said. Thank you, but now you need to sit in your square. Thanks, he said. I thought I would be stuck in that nutshell forever. Littlest rabbit put the empty shell on his head. It makes a great hat, he giggled. That looked like the tastiest nut ever, groaned Pecan and Hickory. Ooh, I bet they're feeling disappointed that there was no nut inside that nutshell. There's plenty more where that came from, chirped Mole, and he disappeared underground. Brandy's listening. Jasmine's sitting crisscross. Araya's sitting in her square on the carpet. Deontay and Maya, you need to be in your squares on the carpet. Yes. Suddenly, shiny nuts began popping up all over the place. There's enough for everyone, said the mole. Magic, shouted Hickory. Magic, shouted Pecan. Not magic, everyone shouted, and they munched with delight. Okay, I'm going to pick my friends who are sitting the best, who are listening to the story Kindergarten Ready, who can go help Miss Bailey with the project. So I'm going to choose Jair and Chanel, because they didn't get out of their seats during the story. You can stand up. You're going to go with Miss Bailey. Maybe if the rest of my friends are sitting just as good as they were, you'll get your turn too. How? They're doing that art project in the hallway that we saw with the letters. You need to sit down with the hunter. You're not making the right choices. So look, now all the friends had a nut, and they munched it with delight. Brandon, you're in the quiet corner. You need to be in your seat. The end. So I want to see what we know. I want to see what we know focus, ready. If you can hear me, touch your chin. If you can hear me, touch your ears. If you can hear me, touch your nose. If you can name one character in this story, raise your hand. Darrell was sitting so nicely listening to the story. I bet Darrell knows. What was a character in this story?
The mole.
Yeah, there was a mole. So Darrell said the mole. Raise your hand if you know another character that we read about in this story. Deontay, I can call on you when you're sitting in your square doing the right thing. Deontay, what's another character in this story? I'm sorry, I can't hear Deontay because you're making noises. Tell me a character. Oh, I see. Tayshawn, what did Deontay just tell us about? What part of the story did he tell us about? Were you listening?
Yeah.
If you were listening, you could tell us what Deontay was saying. It's not polite when someone is speaking to be walking around. You need to sit so you can hear what he was saying. Deontay was telling us that the two characters were picking at the ground like this, trying to get the nut out. What did I just say, Tayshawn? They were trying to pick the nut out. I bet if you sit down in your square and listen, you'll know what all our other friends say. And I'm going to call on Arianna to tell us the name of another character. Tayshawn, you have a check on the board. You can sit down on the carpet. Sit down. I'm sorry. I can't hear Arianna because people are making noise. Hold that thought, Arianna. I need all my friends back on the carpet. Brandy, that includes you because you were not in the quiet corner. Go to the carpet. Go to the carpet. You can go there now or you can sit in a chair during your turn. When I see my friends are ready, we're going to do a song, so my ready friends will get to stand up. My friends who have not been ready will need to sit out for a song. So I want Darrell to stand up first, because he stayed in his square and he didn't bother anybody. And Arianna, you can stand up in your square. You bothered me and you bothered everyone when you were distracting them from the story by spinning around on the carpet and by interrupting. Brandy, you can stand up. Brandon and Giovanni and Tiana. When the rest of you show us that you're ready, you'll be able to stand up too. Martavia, sit down. Elijah may stand up. You're still not in your square. You'll never get your turn until you start doing my thing. Deontay may stand up. I didn't call your name yet. Maya may stand up. Tristan may stand up. Shania may stand up. Stay in your square though. When you show me that you're ready, and here's where, nice, that's when I can call you. I can't call you if you're doing the wrong thing.